there, and welcome again to the Great Stories podcast. I'm your host for the show, Ryan Weber, and what you have found today is a podcast where I sit across the table from another human being and we hear their story. The goal of these stories is to just hear about a real person's walk with a real God, and it's what it's looked like in their life to follow Christ, how they came to know Him, some of the highs, some of the lows, and just maybe what's next, what they're learning, what God's teaching them. These stories are real, they're unscripted, unedited, there's no time limit, there's no objective. These are just real conversations with real people. And it's such a privilege to do this show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to follow the show on Facebook, just look for The Great Stories Podcast on there, and you can just stay up to date on what's coming on. And I'm actually experimenting with doing some live videos on our Facebook, actually my personal Facebook page. And I tried that tonight with my guest today. It seemed to work out pretty well. There were some people watching and commenting. It was kind of fun. You can just get a window into the podcasting world. If you want to support the show, there's basically three ways to do that. The first way and the foremost way is to share them. We cover a lot of topics. If you hear something that reminds you of somebody, just send them a link to the show. Give it a 5-star rating, thumbs up on whatever platform you're listening to it on. And that just helps to spread the word. Not so that the Great Stories podcast can be great, but so that the God we talk about can be known. The second way, we have a Patreon account. Just search for the Great Stories podcast on patreon.com. And of course, if you want to come on the show, please come on the show. Support it that way. Tell your story. Get it out there. Everyone's got one. And it's such a joyful experience. Come on the show. Shoot me an email at thegreatstoriespodcast@gmail.com. So today, again, like I said, we did a live Facebook video for this, so you can actually find the video for this interview on the Great Stories Podcast Facebook page. And I talked to a good friend of mine named Wk Poon. Wk Poon is his full name, but everyone calls him Wk. Great story. I've known the guy for a couple of years. I got to know him just through the church, building stuff. He's a handy guy. I'm a handy guy. We kind of hit it off and just became friends. And, we served in the high school ministry together, a couple things like that. And I just get to know this guy, and gosh, I admire his character. I admire his heart, his love for other people, and just his dedication to serve people and just make the name of Christ known. And that's why he came on this show. And I'm so glad we got to do that. Also, there's a little bit of personal news about WK that he broke right here on the Great Stories podcast. But I'll let you find that for yourself. It was so cool. It's one of the first times I've been kind of lost for words on my own show. So with that, I hope you enjoy listening to this as much as we enjoyed recording it. Here we go. All right then, Wk Poon, welcome to the Great Stories Podcast.
Thank you.
You're here. Good job. You found it.
I made it.
Tell me, what is the most recent free thing that you've managed to acquire?
Ooh.
I was just telling someone today about, of all the people I know, you find the most, deals and free stuff I've ever heard of in my life.
Well, I just sold something. So I sold a couple of figures. They're Iron Man and War Machine.
Ooh.
So I got those probably 8 years ago.
Okay.
In Hong Kong for $80. Two for $80.
Dang.
So I had them on my shelf.
Yeah.
For 8 years, I guess. And I just sold them for $140. So I didn't get them for free. I got to display them and made money. So I made $60 off of it.
That's not bad.
That's not bad, yeah.
Iron Man and War Machine?
Yeah, they're
They come together?
No, they're two separate things. But I bought the funny thing is, here's the funny thing.
All right.
The funny thing is, I bought the War Machine because it was on sale.
Okay.
So that thing only cost $30.
Yeah, War Machine's not a big deal.
Yeah, but then War Machine's not a big deal. I was like,
right.
I can't just display this by itself. So I was like, okay, I basically put in more cash and pay $50 for the Iron Man. I was like, okay, I buy the other one.
Okay.
But so yeah, they were just displayed. That's kind of what I do. I buy toys and then display them, and usually it's like 5-8 years down the line, I don't even notice. I'm like, oh, I don't have the space for this stuff. So I start looking on eBay, like just kind of checking prices, and then people are like, oh, I was like, oh, these are worth money. I'm gonna sell them.
How often do things appreciate versus like deteriorate in value? Like, do you kind of know what stuff to look for, or is it
usually it's like if it's classic, like I have a whole bunch of Transformers that basically appreciates only.
Right.
So I have original like Generation 1 Optimus Prime Transformer that like they don't even make those anymore because they basically broke the mold.
Yeah.
They remade it to it's like a sleeker body. It's kind of weird, but
what are they trying to slim Optimus down for?
Yeah, they're trying
he's a space robot. Come on. Yeah.
So yeah, those stuff like that. But like I don't know. I never got into like all the pop figures. A lot of the pop figures, like only very specific ones, actually worth money. Most of them.
What's a pop figure?
Those little plastic vinyl things. Those you've seen them. They make all characters like Marvel. It's like little plastic guy, Captain America. It's like,
they have a little stand on them.
No, they're just plastic vinyl figures. They just kind of they're like this tall, about 5 inches, 4 inches, and they just stand there.
They don't move.
Their head like turns.
Oh, okay.
But they don't really move. Yeah, they don't really move. So
how did you decide to make that your like collector hobby?
I didn't. I just like him, and then I buy it.
Right.
And then eventually, like, it's just worth money all of a sudden. Like, I had this classic 18-inch Alien figure that was like super detailed.
Yeah.
I bought it.
Oh, like Alien.
Yeah, the actual Alien.
Like Sigourney Weaver Alien. Yeah.
Yeah, Alien Predator. So I bought that like a long time ago when it was on clearance in Toys R Us for like $23. And I think it was 10 years down the line. It was like, this thing's worth like $150. I'm gonna sell it. So I buy new toys. That's why my wife lets me buy toys, because I fund my own hobby through sales.
As soon as that becomes not profitable, it's gone, right?
But I'm not a true collector in that sense.
Okay.
Like, I don't keep this stuff forever.
Right.
Like a true collector will never sell it.
Right. You're fine with selling stuff.
Yeah. I just enjoy it on a shelf for a while. I don't. It's not like I play with them. I just put them on the shelf, and after a while, just collect dust and then use a paintbrush or brush it off and sell it.
But you've acquired many other things for free that I know. I have a couple things. You've given me things and told me, yeah, I got this for free.
Oh, yeah.
I have a phone charger, like a little power jumper thing. That crazy little lighter.
Oh yeah, the arc lighter.
The arc lighter. That's the weirdest. Cool. I played with that until it died.
You can recharge it.
I know I can recharge it, but I was just burning random things just to see if it would work. I never had the guts to touch it though. I figured.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It's like a little taser.
I saw it and I was like, there's probably YouTube videos of people doing this stuff like that.
Oh, I bet.
I didn't look it up, but
you scored a vehicle for free.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, one of my friends gave it to me, so.
Okay.
He just randomly. I went to his house to help him paint his house.
Yeah.
He just got a new house. They moved, so went to go help him, and then he picked me up. We went to the hardware store in this car.
Yeah.
It was like a 2005 or something like that. 2005 BMW 3 Series. And I was like, "What are you doing with this car?" He's like, "Well, he's a mechanic, so one of his clients just gave it to him." And he's like, I was like, "This was like my dream car when I was in high school. I really wanted this car." He's like, "You want it? I'll give it to you." So he just basically signed over the deed and like took it to the DMV and paid for the registration, and basically that was it.
Dude, everybody needs a friend like that. That's crazy.
But it ended up, the crazy thing was that car ended up having so many problems.
Oh.
The AC was broken. The AC actually broke 1 week later, and then the power steering started going out, and then it's leaking major motor oil. So like when I'm driving it, I need to like roll the windows down, otherwise it stinks because it's like burning oil.
The question is, did he know that?
He probably did.
When he gave it to you.
He knew there's a motor oil leak.
He gave you a lemon.
So
nice.
Yeah. But I got to drive for a while. But eventually I realized I don't really like it because it's really stiff driving. Because if you know old BMWs, it's got the hydraulic steering, and I don't really like it. My arms are too weak for that now.
Oh, you're more of a luxury guy.
Yeah, mid-range, I guess.
Are you becoming a van guy now?
Yeah, I just got a van.
Yeah.
Bought my dad's old van.
A minivan?
Yeah, Toyota Sienna 2006.
Oh, wow.
So it's brand new.
Daddy WK. You go from a Beamer to a Mazda to a minivan.
That's right. Well, I had the Mazda for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I got to ride in it the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You like it?
For those who don't know, WK actually gave his Mazda 3, whatever, to my goddaughter.
Yeah.
He's such a stud. I can't believe he did that. That's crazy.
People aren't supposed to know.
Oh, well, they're gonna know. Hey, it's a generous thing, man.
Well, I woke up one morning.
You're not supposed to be the one to tell people.
Yeah. Well, I woke up one morning and I just felt God telling me I need to give my car away.
Wow.
And partly because we've been thinking about getting a van anyways.
Yeah.
But then the only person that I know that drives a stick
Yeah.
is her.
Right.
I don't know anybody else. So I was like, whoa.
That's true.
So I was like, and I knew she was going to transferring to college and she probably
Yeah.
needs a car. And I was like,
Yeah.
she just came to mind. So I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I, talked to her, talked to you, and then it was like, all of a sudden, it just happened.
Didn't take a lot of convincing. That's pretty awesome.
Well, hopefully I didn't give her a lemon.
Yeah, we'll see if it starts leaking oil, steering falls out, air conditioner stops. That's a pretty awesome. Thank you for doing that.
I already released my liability, so it's
okay.
hers now.
You're good. Right on. The warranty is already expired.
Yeah. Well, the thing with that was the conviction to give her a car was like one thing.
Yeah.
And I got convicted to like just bless her.
Yeah.
So I actually got like brand new tires for her, so she wouldn't have to worry about it. Like,
get out of here.
Yeah, I've changed all the air filter and stuff like that, so she wouldn't have to worry about it. It's like, oh,
that girl.
yeah. And then even when we were at the DMV,
yeah,
I felt convicted to pay the registration. I was like, oh, okay. It's like,
oh, it's too much.
I said I was gonna give it to you for free, so
yeah.
Free I just pay.
Free means free, right?
That's right.
That's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, no, that girl, there's big things ahead of her.
Oh yeah,
she's a pretty unique little flower.
She is.
And yeah, thank you.
No,
it's pretty awesome.
We're blessed to be able to bless people.
Yeah. Amen to that. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
So I want to, what I normally do is I just kind of take it back to the beginning and like help me understand where you came from, where you're born, family. I don't even know what country you were born in. I feel like we've been friends for a while now, and there's all these things I don't know. So I'm excited to like kind of dig through your closet and figure out what's in there, right? Yeah.
So I was born in Hong Kong. So that's when it was under British rule. So it was still a British colony back then. So I was born in 82. Okay. So it's a good year. Yeah, we're the same age. Yeah. So I immigrated to America in 89, September 5th of 89. Okay. So I was 7 years old. So my whole family immigrated, and it was me, 2 brothers, and my parents. Okay. So I have 2 older brothers. So basically I had a backpack with 2 dinosaurs puppets. Those the first thing you brought was toys with you. The Land Before Time. Yeah. I had 2 little hand puppets, and then I had a stuffed panda that I brought over. Nice. That's all I remember. Any clothes? Well, they were in the suitcase. Okay. In my little backpack that I had. Right. You brought your most prized. That's right. That's right. So I came over in 89, and then we lived in Oakland. Okay. So we lived with my grandparents. So we were in a pretty decent neighborhood of Oakland that was in Glenview. Okay. So yeah, if you know Oakland, that's a pretty decent neighborhood. So I went to Glenview Elementary, and then after a while, we lived in the basement of my grandparents' house, and then eventually we kind of moved out and rented our own place, kind of in that same area. Now, did you know any English when you came? I knew a little bit of English because we took English in Hong Kong. I think I had 1 class in English or something like that, but I was only in 1st grade, so it wasn't like I knew a lot. Okay. But yeah, I remember knowing some, but we had ESL teachers back then. So English as second language teachers. So her name's Miss Y. So she's like super awesome. She was actually Christian, so we didn't know that, but yeah. So she actually spent a lot of time teaching us English, and she would actually stay after school and kind of like take care of us and teach us English and tutor us while my parents would come later to pick us up.
Wow.
Which is crazy. It's kind of like free childcare service.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual.
Yeah, it's pretty unusual. So she went above and beyond.
None of my teachers wanted anything to do with me after school.
Well, I was a pretty good kid.
Who had the hardest time learning English between your brothers?
Probably me. It's weird. I'm the youngest, but
yeah, usually you think that whoever's younger, kind of picks it up quicker.
Well, I was just sharing my MC the other day.
Yeah.
And we used to get my parents as incentive for studying would give us $2 for every A we got in our report card. And if we got straight A's, meaning 6 A's, 4.0, then we'd get $20. So that was an incentive. But me, I don't know why, I always got 3.83. I always got a B in English. I've only gotten an A in English once in my whole 11 years of high school, middle school, elementary. It's crazy. I always get B's. I don't know why. It's ridiculous. But so I guess I had the hardest time learning English. So because my brother got 4.0s and stuff. So
all right, where's your brothers now? I don't think I've ever met them.
One's in Dublin, one's in Castle Valley.
Okay,
so
they're not crazy far away then.
No, they're close because my parents are in San Leandro. So
right on.
Yeah.
So when you guys immigrated here, what was the reasoning for it?
The reasoning was because Hong Kong was going back to China in '97. So
okay.
So my dad was afraid of that. So there's still a lot of stuff going on in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically it's gonna become somewhat under communist rule. So my parents wanted a brighter future for us, so they immigrated for us here. And kind of the story is my grandparents are divorced. So on my dad's side, my grandparents are divorced. So my real grandfather is in America.
Okay.
So he's the one that kind of basically vouched for us and
So he went ahead and then he
yeah.
So
and he signed up papers and basically immigrated his son and his whole family, or just us over. So
yeah, communism isn't known for the bright future.
Yeah, that's
aspect,
what my dad was scared of. I mean,
yeah.
And my dad doesn't really speak English, and my mom speaks no English at all.
Still,
she speaks a little bit, but
enough to get by. Yeah, supermarket English, right?
She goes to Chinese supermarkets.
Oh, all right.
She doesn't drive either, so it's
She's kind of in her own little world then.
Yeah, she is, and it's kind of cool because my parents bought a place in San Leandro, and then afterwards they opened a Chinese supermarket pretty close, so she just kind of walks there, so she didn't have to drive, which is pretty cool.
Right.
But then my dad's retired now, so he can kind of drive her. So.
What was his profession?
He was a telecommunications guy, so he installed equipment at AT&T for different companies.
Okay.
All their equipment, so that's what he did. So he kind of did that in Hong Kong too, and so when he came to America, he basically kind of followed the same line of work and was started as an installer and eventually got up to being a project manager.
Yeah, I guess that stuff is everywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to go out of style.
No.
Yeah. Well, keep going then. Tell me about what was grade school like, middle school like, and for a freshly immigrated Hong Kong. What would you call a person from Hong Kong? Is there
Hong Kong?
That's it?
I guess. Because they don't want to be labeled as mainlanders,
right?
China,
right? So saying Chinese wouldn't be really kosher, right? So
so we speak Cantonese.
Okay.
So, Faye was in here. She speaks Mandarin.
Yeah.
So that's the main language in China.
Right.
So we speak a minority language. But anyways, it's Cantonese. That's what Hong Kong speaks.
Cantonese.
So.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. So, it actually wasn't that bad because that's part of the reason I kept my Cantonese. I'm fluent in Cantonese.
Still, yeah.
I'm fluent. So I can speak. I can't really read, but I can speak. So yeah, because we basically had a few other people from Hong Kong who immigrated. So
Yeah.
first day I went to school, I already like have like Hong Kong speaking, Chinese, Cantonese speaking friends.
Oh, right on.
So there's like 4 of us.
Yeah.
You know, and then eventually there are more. So we all go to the same ESL teacher, so we kind of knew each other. So
Right on. Got a little crew.
yeah. I mean, we picked up English pretty fast. I just was never really good at like reading and stuff like that. So
Me neither. I'm serious. Yeah. I couldn't read for beans.
yeah, but yeah, I think growing up in elementary school, I think it was okay. It was pretty diverse. Like
Yeah.
Oakland. I mean,
Yeah.
it was pretty diverse. I remember, you know, having friends from all different colors.
Yeah.
And this is just the way it was. And I did remember, this is a funny story. I do remember this one girl, like, remember in 2nd grade when I first went to school, and like this girl, like blonde hair, blue eyes, like I was like, wow. And yeah, it's wow. I didn't even realize, but I just realized that her name, or just remembered that her name was Diana, which is my wife's name.
Ooh.
Which is crazy.
Weird.
Which is crazy. But anyways, so yeah. I remember having that moment, like, you know, jaw drop.
Right.
Oh, she's like pretty. In 2nd grade. It's crazy.
And then you can't talk.
I never did talk to her.
Oh. The one that got away.
No, I caught somebody better.
Thankfully so.
Yeah,
I'm glad too. Diana's pretty awesome.
she is.
So here's a question. What was your spiritual religious condition at home as a kid? Like what were you raised in?
So my dad was a Christian in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
He actually got saved at a Billy Graham crusade in Hong Kong.
Really?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Crazy, yeah.
Dude,
But
that Billy.
yeah,
Billy got around.
But after he got married, I think he slowed down quite a bit, and especially when he had kids, so he stopped going to church altogether in Hong Kong. So, but when we first immigrated in September in '89, my mom started working at basically we were pretty poor, so she started working at, she didn't speak English, so she worked at a factory where they packaged herbs and spices.
Okay.
So it was, I think, San Francisco Natural Herbs and Spices Company or something like that.
Okay.
I think they're still around. But anyways.
I think I've been there.
Yeah.
There's a huge warehouse in Milpitas. Actually, they just tore it down, but there was.
Yeah. They were in Emerville for a while, and then they moved to Fremont, I think.
Yeah.
And then I don't know where
they're not there anymore. I think Tesla tore them down and built something.
Yeah, they were near Tesla before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, but by that time, my mom had already stopped working.
Okay.
So she was going to Emerville, and yeah, basically one of her coworkers, basically like a lot of non-English speaking people work in the warehouse.
Yeah.
So she knows all the spices names. Okay. But yeah, one of her coworkers invited us to a Thanksgiving dinner at their church. That the first year we made it, 2 months later, and we actually went. And I guess the pace of work in America was a little slower then. We actually started going to church like every Sunday after that.
All right.
So it was this little church in Oakland, MacArthur, and now they basically they recently bought a building.
Yeah.
And they moved to downtown San Leandro.
Okay.
So they're still in existence, and yeah, so yeah, we went to this church, it's like 90 people. So it's like a family house church.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's how we kind of got back into Christianity, or that's how I first started experiencing Christianity. Because my dad never really talked about it growing up.
Right.
Or I was too young, or I don't remember. So.
What was that church called again? Did you say it?
I don't remember.
They
changed names recently too, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't.
Darn it! When churches do that, it's so confusing.
But that's not.
I can't take it.
I was there. I was there for many years, growing up, right? And
yeah,
I actually stopped going to church in high school. So, well, before I get there, I kind of have to go a little further back, right? Like,
give us more backstory.
Yeah. So the thing is, Glenview. So from 1st to 5th grade was pretty good. So that was elementary school back then, 1st to 5th grade. And I actually first to sixth grade. What am I talking about? First to sixth grade. And then we moved afterwards. So we moved to near High Street.
Okay.
High Street and near International Boulevard.
Yeah.
So it's pretty near Fremont High. That's where we moved to.
Okay.
So yeah, Fremont High in Oakland is kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's if you know that area, it's kind of ghetto.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty ghetto area. So
That whole international, that whole side.
yeah.
MLK Junior Parkway runs up around.
Yeah, so we kind of grew up there, and I went to middle school in Bret Harte Junior High,
Okay.
and then I went to Skyline High School. So I think we used some of the address for that. Otherwise, I would have been going to Fremont High,
Yeah.
which Skyline was supposedly a better school back then. So
Yeah.
I guess it was. Forrest Gump's from there.
No.
Yeah.
The real Forrest Gump?
Yeah, Tom Hanks. He graduated from.
Oh, Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Forrest Gump? Was he a real guy? I thought they made that up. Okay.
Tom Hanks is
Tom Hanks.
from Skyline.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, claim to fame.
Claim to fame. We got Tom Brady at my high school. Well, Barry Bonds, too.
Oh, really?
So take that.
Oh. Yeah. Well.
But, I mean, Tom Hanks went to the moon, so.
That's right.
Oh, no, he didn't. They almost, right? They had to slingshot around the dark side and all that.
That's right.
Dang it.
So, yeah, middle school, I went to Bret Harte, and it was rough. That's when it got rough. My life got a lot rougher once middle school got around. So I was basically taking a bus. I had to take two buses, and it took like probably 45 minutes before I get to school. And I got to take 45 minutes back. And I got to take the bus up High Street, which is pretty iffy. So imagine this like really short Asian Chinese kid.
Yeah.
Just kind of walking around in a pretty ghetto neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's kind of the life I grew up in. So at Bret Harte, we were basically picked on all the time, like on the bus. I remember getting beat up in the locker room for no reason, just because I was Asian.
Wow.
This is a Chinese kid. I don't know. That happens a lot. Like my friends would get their like hair get set on fire for no reason. They just put a lighter up to it and burn his hair, which is weird. So
Dang.
yeah, so we got a lot of physical bullying. We got bullied physically. So like nowadays you get cyber bullied, but we like physically got bullied.
Right.
So yeah, tons of incidents where I'm just walking home from school and these kids come up to me like wants to steal my bus pass or like steal my watch or whatever it is, and like they basically like took it right, like kicked me in the back of the head. I remember getting kicked in the back of the head because I was just a short Asian kid, and they just ran up to me. Like I walked away when they tried to take my watch, and I walked away.
Yeah.
And he just like drop kicked me, I guess. It didn't really hurt, but I was like, I don't know. But that's kind of the thing that I went through. So
wow. Where did your brothers experience a similar?
Yeah, my brother got a black guy on the bus.
Huh.
And we're like, you already know when you get on a bus, you sit like pretty much in the front seats where they're sideways and they're facing each other. I don't know if the buses are still like that, but I haven't taken a bus for a while.
The city buses are, yeah.
Yeah, so you only sit in those seats because any further back, it's like unsafe,
Wow.
And yeah, we only sat at the front of the bus because, or if all the seats are taken, you stand there because it's, yeah. So I grew up with a lot of fear, especially since 6th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, one of the...
Man.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the thing I grew up in. So, I remember this one incident. I always like talking about. This is one of the more traumatic incidents.
Yeah.
I was in, it was lunchtime. I was just standing there eating, minding my own business and eating lunch, and somebody behind us threw a soda can over our heads to some of these other people, and for some reason they thought it was me. Like, I don't know why they would think it's me. So I got chased to the middle of the playground. And the playground has those little circles where you run laps around. Like, they're pretty big. They're like an eighth of a mile per circle. So I ran to the middle of that circle in the playground. the whole circle was filled with people. Probably a handful of people wanting to like pound my face to the ground because they think I threw a soda can. And I was scared. Like, everywhere I look, I'm surrounded by basically a crowd. I'm encircled in this little, I'm in this little circle, and I'm like,
this is
scared.
In 6th grade?
This is 6th or 7th grade.
6th or 7th grade.
Yeah. So, and the crazy thing was, I to this day, I think, I call her an angel. Some girl, basically, I think it's one of the guy's girlfriends. Like, she was there, and she covered my head and walked me out of the circle, like, untouched, to the principal's office. I was like, wow. Like, it's the weirdest thing. I don't know who it is.
Wow.
Never found her, but that's what happened. I was untouched and walked out of that circle. I was like, wow. It's so... Like, so, throughout my life, even though I was experiencing hard times, there's snippets and of like just light that I see, just God kind of protecting me through the incidents.
Yeah.
I wasn't like majorly harmed, right? So there was a time just a lot of fear. There's a time when I was sitting in the classroom, and there's the guys next to me at the table, and one guy kind of like under the table pulls out a gun. It looked like, I think it was a .38. So he pulls out a gun from his backpack and says, "Oh, this is my dad's." And the class is going on. So for some reason, I'm sitting in the back of the class. I don't remember. Yeah. I don't remember why, but sitting in the back of the class.
Okay.
And then I'm just kind of like glancing out of the corner of my eye. I don't dare to look over.
Right.
So out of the corner of my eyes, I see all this happening. This guy's showing his friend the gun. And I can faintly hear the other guy saying, "You should shoot somebody." It's weird. Like,
what?
It's Oakland, man. I guess it's Oakland. So, and the guy like basically points the gun kind of towards me. I can like see it out of the corner of my eyes. I just freaked out. I froze. So I just kind of sat there in silence. And I don't even remember what happened. I think either they put it away or the class ended. And then as soon as I heard the bell ring, I kind of like walked out the door, turned the corner, and like ran to my next classroom.
Yeah.
So scared. Eventually, I think they got caught and they were expelled. But yeah, it's just crazy. Those are my scary moments in life.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That happened to you. Dang it.
It's interesting because I am who I am because I've gone through that.
Yeah.
I mean, God protected me through it, right? I didn't die. I'm obviously still here. That's where the crazy story goes, right? I kind of have all this fear and all this bitterness built up against God. I was blaming God. I knew God. I knew I was saved, but at the same time, I was blaming Him for allowing all this suffering in my life. Like I was wrestling with it, and I was like, God, I just like hate you because you allow. I'm this kid who's obedient to my parents.
Yeah.
I do my best in school, and I listen, and I'm basically, obedient, good kid. Why am I experiencing all this crap that I have no control over? So, but the tides turn, right? The tides turn because eventually I kind of hide away and survive middle school. And I think I was, thinking back, I think I was lucky, or God kind of ordained it this way. The year I went to high school, I actually jumped into being a sophomore. I was never a freshman because they switched the system from junior high to middle school. So junior high was 6th, 7th, 8th. Yeah. And then, or 7th, 8th, and 9th or something like that. 7th, 8th, and 9th. I think that's what it was. Huh. And then it was,
I've never even heard
high
of that.
school was like 10th, 11th, 12th.
Yeah.
And then they made the major switch where high school was 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. And then but then I was already in 8th grade. So I went from I was already in ninth grade in middle school.
Okay.
Or junior high. So I went from ninth grade in junior high to 10th grade, a sophomore.
High school.
In high school. So
Weird.
I was never a freshman. Which is good.
I've never heard that.
I probably would have been picked on even more as a freshman.
You can skip that year.
So I got to skip a year and somebody else got picked on, right? I don't know.
Yeah, you were never in the younger class in high school. That's weird.
Never.
Wow.
Never, yeah. I just skipped.
I've never heard of a 7th, 8th, 9th.
Yeah, no, that was
Middle school. That's kind of odd.
That was in 90s.
I've heard of 6, 7, 8. That's what mine was.
Yeah, 90s. Because that's when I graduated in Skyline
2000. Yeah.
So I guess it's 3 years before that they swapped.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting. So
did your parents know about the bullying and stuff that was going on?
They knew a little bit. Like, they knew from our brother coming home with a black guy. They knew.
Yeah, it's hard to hide.
Yeah, when somebody stole my bus pass, I mean, I need a new bus pass to take the bus to school. So
asking you where to go.
Yeah, I mean.
So you tried to tell them, or
yeah,
was there any, like, anyone you could talk to or anything, or?
No, I told my parents. Actually, my dad actually tried to do something once. It was funny because the same kid that like stole my bus pass.
Yeah.
I think we went back. It was, I don't know why. I don't even know why we did this. Like, we went back to the bus stop.
Yeah.
And then we waited, and then those same kids came to like pick on us again.
Huh.
And then I think he punched me in the face or jaw or something like that. I don't remember. Punched me in the cheek, and I just kind of stood there. And then my dad was driving around looking for them.
Yeah.
And then actually he made a U-turn and came back down High Street and found them. And the kids got so scared, they left their bike and ran. So we sat at the
first free bike right there, right?
Well, we sat at the bike and then basically just sat there. And then eventually the mom showed up. And I was like, that's my kid's bike. I was like, and then my dad basically said, your kid's picking on my kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember ever seeing him again. But I just kind of avoid everything. Like, throughout my taking a bus career, I just kind of avoid everything. Like, low profile, hide away at school.
Right. It's out of sight, out of mind. Right. Yeah.
Like, even in high school, I was fearful to go to the restroom. That's where all the people smoke. That's where you get jumped. That's where you get your money taken away from you.
You just find a bathroom that's less traveled, right?
No, there's no less traveled bathroom.
Oh.
The only bathroom I went to was gym. That was, or during class, and you have to get like a special pass, and you can only do that at a certain time.
Right.
So there's this one year I had gym first period, and it was horrible because that was the only. I think that's where I get this habit of not drinking water. Like, I don't drink much water because I just don't go to the bathroom.
Just stay dehydrated, and wow.
So yeah, that's kind of where I grew up, and yeah,
that's rough, man.
It is,
dude.
Rough. Yeah, it's rough. But
I wasn't there, but I'm sorry that happened to you. I guess it's not right.
It's
it's
not
right.
But the story continues.
It does.
I made it right. So in high school, I started hanging out with these people because these people allowed me to feel safe. So I started hanging out with a crew that would protect me, right? And
what kind of crew are we talking about?
It was like a kind of like Asian crew. Like, there's some Vietnamese in there, there's some Chinese people in there. So
okay.
So there's these people. Basically, I started hanging out with them, and because I was associated with the crew, I felt more safe.
Yeah.
And people were like kind of watching over me.
Right.
But I specifically remember this one incident in high school where one of the people in our crew, like, somebody talked smack with him, and basically we set up a one-on-one, fight it out thing.
You and me.
Yeah.
After school.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be a one-on-one, but when the fight started, basically we surrounded that one kid, and we basically kicked him to the ground. And he was on the ground covering his head, and we still kicked him. There was probably 15 of us surrounding him, kicking him down. And actually, that was a pivotal change in my life, because I realized that the person right here too.
Sounds feel like there's water dripping in the wall. It's a strange noise. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Keep going. Kicking this kid. Back to beating this kid.
Yeah, and I realized that, I walked away from that realizing I became one of the people I hated the most. I became a bully myself. I used my so-called power to oppress others.
Right.
And actually from that day on, I actually walked away from that crew.
Huh.
And it was actually a good time because that's when one of them actually invited me to like legitly join a gang.
Right.
So I was in high school. I was almost going to join a gang. But I think what brought me back was realizing I became a bully myself.
Yeah.
And realizing that my parents didn't raise me this way. So we grew up in a very loving family. My mom, as soon as we were able to kind of make it, like my mom like stayed home to watch us again.
Right.
Like that's what she did in Hong Kong. She didn't work. When we first came here, she was pretty poor and we had to do that. And so, yeah. And eventually it got to a point where my dad made, I guess, enough money for us to survive. And my mom didn't have to go to work anymore. So, but yeah, I think, parents' love always brings it back. I think that's that experience, brought me back. And I was like, oh, I can't be this person.
Yeah.
Even if I'm fearful of what's going to happen to me, I can't be this person. So, yeah, I used to be so fearful. I used to bring a pipe to school. Had in my backpack, 12-inch pipe. I brought knives to school because it made me feel safer, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'll ever use it, but it just made me feel safer.
You never had to?
No, I'm probably too scared to use it.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just the idea of it making me feel like I have something.
Yeah.
But most of the time I try to avoid everything. I just kind of like hide in a corner, mind my own business and go to class and just leave and go home. And that's the way it was. And things eventually got better when I started driving, I guess. We still lived in the neighborhood, but at least I didn't have to take the bus and I didn't have to be in the streets, and it felt a little safer. So
okay, I've never paused a podcast before, but we're gonna pause.
Okay.
Because I can't. We can't do this with that stinking pipe.
We didn't figure out what it is.
Okay, so we'll pause it here. Hang on, we're gonna figure this out. Hang on. What is that noise?
It's probably rain from a duct or something. It's hitting a duct.
It's crazy. I've had the dog drinking water. Oh. Is it dripping inside? Stop. I'm gonna turn the heater off altogether. I think it's that. Okay. That was crazy. I've had trains. I've had the dog snoring over here, but that noise is like, what? Because that kind of frequency goes in the...
Yeah, because I heard it through the headphones.
Yeah, I was hearing it. I thought it was like something in the system. Okay. And we're back.
We found a solution to the problem.
Problem solved. So how long was that period of time where you're with, the crew and all that?
That was probably a year and a half.
Was that long?
Yeah. Maybe a year and a half. I don't remember. Like, I'm not really good with dates, so that's really hard to.
Me neither. I can't do that.
Yeah. So
I've had people that can tell me, yeah, it was in August of '85, or it's like,
what?
Really? You could do that?
Yeah, Chase does that.
It's like a superpower.
Yeah. So eventually I kind of walked away from that crew and just started going back to like people studying and then playing basketball. So that's what I was doing. So, and throughout all of this, my parents actually didn't know. I still never really sat down and told them that I almost joined the gang. Like,
yeah.
They still don't know. They even if they hear this, they won't know.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
So it's, all of this was happening in the background.
Yeah.
And I think I stopped going to church by that time.
Okay.
So it got to a point where I just told my parents, church, it's not that I don't believe there's a God. It's not that I don't believe Jesus died for me. I completely understood what it was, and I completely took it. And I knew that even when I didn't go to church, if I died, I would go to heaven. I knew that clearly. But at the same time, I was like telling my parents, going to church is kind of like a family thing. I didn't really take any ownership of it, and it's just like a ritual on Sundays.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't believe it. It's just, deep down, I was really bitter at God for allowing all this stuff to happen to me. And I was basically wrestling with him. I was like, I'm not going to church. You allowing all this stuff to happen to me.
Right.
I'm not going to go to church. So I just stopped going. And my parents were like, I always describe my parents as like non-traditional Chinese parents. So
go into that a little bit.
Well,
you don't have to.
Traditional Chinese parents, you basically only have to be you're either a doctor, a lawyer, or accountant.
Yeah.
So they want your careers to be wealthy. My parents have always believed that whatever you want to do it. And, we're gonna support you as long as you try hard. Which is crazy, It's like
that's pretty unusual.
It's pretty unusual for a Chinese family. So I was never set to be a lawyer or a doctor. My brother's a doctor, but that's because he wanted to be a doctor. So, so they're non-traditional. So in a sense, they also let me ride a motorcycle, which they never would have let me. But they're wise. Yeah. They're wise because they said, we think it's a dangerous thing. We don't really condone it. But if you really want to do it, we're not going to support it. But if you can find your own money and buy your own motorcycle, then you can buy it and ride it.
That's
so
hard to argue with that.
Yeah. So, the traditional Chinese parents would have just shot you down and be like, no. You can't.
I forbid you.
Yeah.
Right.
As long as you live under my house roof, you're not going to do that. So, so they're always supportive. They're always loving.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of the environment I grew up in.
Wow.
In high school I walked away from kind of my faith. Not really my faith. I knew what it was. I was just bitter at God.
So what did that look like? Obviously you're not going on Sundays.
Yeah, I'm not going on Sundays.
How long was that chunk of time? What did you, I guess, what'd you do instead, right?
That was probably 2.5 years, or 2.5 years or something like that.
This is in high school still?
Yeah, so I was only in high school for 3 years, so it must have been like 2.5, 2 years.
Sounds like a dream to most.
I don't know, it's so long ago. It was like, but I basically played video games. So I played a lot of video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
what was out then? Like, what was the video game?
N64? I was playing Counter-Strike. I was playing computer games.
Oh, okay. You were a PC.
So I was playing CS, the original. Original, not the CSGO. CS original. So that was Half-Life and CS came out. Counter-Strike came out.
Yeah.
That was like a thing. And I was pretty good at it. And I played Diablo 2. I was pretty good at that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I made money from it.
No way.
Yeah.
This is the 90s.
Yeah.
How do you make money playing games in the 90s?
So this is what I did. So when you play Diablo, there's gold that you find on the ground.
Okay.
Like the actual currency in the game. But that's worth nothing because you can find a lot of gold.
Yeah.
So that's worth nothing. So really rare armors, they use a different type of currency called a unique ring called the Stone of Jordan.
Ooh.
So, but there's a way to farm it. You just got to keep going, right?
Yeah.
So I was able to farm 50 of these things.
Okay.
Stone of Jordans. And I sold them on eBay for $5 each. And then we would just meet on the server, and I would give them the Stone of Jordan, and they pay me real money for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I love it.
I mean, I was always a business guy. Yeah.
Yeah, entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, that's funny. I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't make much money though. Yeah.
No, but still, the fact that you could make it at all, that's pretty ingenious.
Yeah, $250 for the whole summer.
That's good money in high school.
That's true.
Yeah.
Better than nothing.
Well then, so you said that this was like a year and a half, 2 years almost, right? Mm-hmm. Something like that. So What was the conclusion of that chapter? Like, did you end up like coming back to faith, or what was the circumstance there?
So the end of the chapter is I stopped going to church, and we were still going to that small church in Oakland.
Okay.
I stopped going, and my brothers actually started going to a new church on Chinatown called Chinese Independent Baptist Church. It's on 8th Street. It's been there for 100 years.
In Oakland, or
yeah, Oakland Chinatown.
Okay.
It's on 8th Street next to the 76 gas station.
Okay.
Near Harrison or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's been there for like 100 years.
Right.
So my brothers started going, and my parents started going eventually. So my whole family's over there. I'm like the only one not going to church.
Right.
So, yeah, even in college, my brothers went to both went to UC Davis, and they would commute back every weekend, and they would go to church.
Wow.
But I just stopped going, so I just stayed home. And eventually, I graduated high school and went to Cal State Hayward back then. Now it's East Bay.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and that was my first year. My first year of college, that's when I had my encounter, kind of like an encounter with God, right? There's this one night, I was just at home. I don't remember what night it was. It was just one night.
Okay.
I was at home. I was feeling extremely lonely, like nobody cared. Like I was all alone. And I remember texting my brother. He was in UC Davis. And then he texted me back. I was like, oh, I'm going to pray for you. Why don't you read the Bible? And so I was like, okay, I start reading the Bible again. That's I haven't picked up the Bible for a long time.
Just out of the blue.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Felt lonely. Well, before I texted my brother, I texted all these friends. Nobody replied. Nobody. Like it was dead silence that day. And only my brother replied. And yeah, he texted me, and I was like, I start reading the Bible. I'll go back to John, And then eventually I get to John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he gave his one and only son. Whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And it just hit me like a truck. I started weeping. Like all this time, I realized all this time I was bitter at God, blaming him for something that he didn't really do to me. It was just the circumstance I was in, and he allowed suffering, but he didn't particularly take part in it. I don't believe, and even blaming him for it, but at the same time, he never left me. He never left me. I was safe. I made it through, and he provided a loving family that would pray for me all the time. And I was able to go to college, and I was like, wow. Even when my friends, whom I thought were the closest people to me, none of them were there. But God never left me. So that night, I just said, I've never experienced you to be real like that night. And after that night, that Sunday, I started going to church. So this is a new church, right? I started going to the church that my brother and my parents went to in Chinatown.
Okay.
So it's like a fresh start for me, and I basically haven't stopped going to church since then. So that was I call it my rededication to the Lord, because at a younger age, I already knew what the gospel was. I knew that, Jesus died for me on the cross, and I was a sinner, and that he would save me. And I already knew that logically in my head. And I even accepted it and believed it. But at the same time, I never lived that life, because behind the scenes, I was living all these other lives, right? Like the one that almost joined the gang, the one that was, the one that was like, playing basketball, the one that was like studying hard, the one that's like the good kid in front of my parents, even like for a little while, the good kid at church, So, I was just wearing all these different masks. And it wasn't until that night that I was like, you're real to me now. And this is no longer a family ritual where I go to church on Sundays. I've experienced your love and you not abandoning me, even in my toughest times. When I felt all alone, you never left me. So, that was kind of where I went back. And,
wow.
Yeah.
That's a concept that we talk about with the student ministry a lot is that, you know, especially kids that grow up in a church, is they hear these things, they go to the Sunday school, they know the lessons, they know the verses, they go to Awana, they memorize their 127 whatever verses. But then it's not until later on when something happens and they're like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I can't figure out. Like, what is it except that life just hits you it hits different people differently. And for some reason, God will just reach down and like, hey, there you go.
That's right.
Now you get it. It's crazy.
You know what the crazy thing is? It's not just with kids.
Yeah.
Adults.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people going through church and they never realize.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I see a lot. A lot of times, it's more so, especially in the Chinese church, they equate biblical knowledge with spirituality.
Yeah.
So the more biblical knowledge you have, that means you're spiritual. But that's not true.
Right.
You know, living out the gospel is something so much different. And understanding and being transformed by the gospel is something so much more than just reading words on a page. And it's important. I'm not saying it's not, and it is. But at the same time, it's like what it says in James, right? If you look at yourself in the mirror and you walk away and you forget what you look like, then, well, you gotta be careful, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's kind of what it is when you read the Bible and you walk away and you don't do what it hasn't convicted you in a way where you see a need for life change. And that's what I see a lot of times.
Oh. So what did you do with the resentment toward God and all that? Like, how did that play out for you?
I think it just, I don't know if it disappeared. I think it disappeared. I still had fears.
Yeah.
I still had fears. It wasn't like I rededicated my life to the Lord and I was fine and dandy. I was still living in the same neighborhood.
Right.
You know, I still had fears. And even now, I still fear. There are times where I wake up in the middle of the night having nightmares about people chasing me.
Wow.
And I cry. And I'm crying because it just brings back so much fear and memories. And it's scary. You know, I'm the person who walks down the street, and if it's a more ghetto neighborhood, I'm super attentive. And if there's somebody coming down, you know, I cross the street and go somewhere else because I don't even want to be in the situation where I have to react. Yeah. Because I'm so fearful. So I just kind of walk away from it. And a little bit of it has wear off. But sometimes it isn't, you know. I remember I was in LA and I was driving somebody home, and they lived in driving somebody back to USC. Okay. So USC, University of Southern California, it's in this, the campus is really nice. Right. But the neighborhood is really bad. Right. I remember pulling up and, you know, following the GPS, pulling up to the street, and there's basically like 5 cars stopped in the middle of the street just like playing music, and the headlights are in front of my face, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna honk. I'm just gonna put it in reverse or like back up out of the street and like get out of there. So I was like, you know, those moments like hit me really hard because it reminds me of a lot of memories. You know, it brings up a lot of fear in me, vulnerability. Yeah, it's something I have no control over, but at the same time, it's like I think a lot of it has subsided a little more. You know, I have more, especially with now that we have a kid. You know, I have more realization and more faith that I have completely no control over my life. You know, whatever happens, God ordains and God allows. And I've experienced a lot of stories like that where, you know, God just is gracious to me. So here's a story, right? Somewhere between 12 years or 13 years of age, I was just taking a bus to school. I was crossing High Street from Santa Rita, which is where the street I lived. Yeah. So I was crossing this major street with 4 lanes, two lanes on each side, and there's a big PG&E truck stopped on my right side. So I'm crossing the street. I already get past the left side, so I'm already halfway through. Big truck stop, and I'm like crossing the street. There's another lane, and I stick my head out to look. Bam! I get hit by a minibus.
What?
With the side mirror, you know those giant metal mirrors that stick out on the side of those minibuses?
Yeah.
And I get hit, black out, supposedly fly like 10 feet. I start rolling on the ground. I don't know, I blacked out already.
Dude.
So the next thing I know, I open my eyes, I'm in the ambulance.
What?
I see the lights, and the guy's like asking me, do you know who you are? I'm like, yeah, I know who I am. They're like, do you know who you are? I'm like, yeah, I know who I am.
Yeah.
And then they ask me a third time, do you know who you are? I'm like, I figured by that time I should tell them my name. I think that's what they're asking.
Right.
So I told them my name and they stopped asking me. So, but, you know, my dad gets the call. I'm at Children's Hospital emergency room. My dad gets the call and he like gets off work and like just comes. But nothing really happened. I had a major bruise all the way down the left side of my body from hitting the ground, I guess.
But you got hit in the head.
Yeah, I got a giant bruise on the side of my head. I got a scar that I still don't have hair on. It's right above my ear. So there's a scar that the hair doesn't go back. So, but I got out that afternoon. Like, nothing really majorly wrong. And eventually we got, like, the brainwave tests, and they say I'm normal. I don't know.
I don't know. We could debate that later, maybe.
So, yeah,
Dude.
even through, like, crazy stuff like that, you know.
Man.
You know, I realized God had a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
Had a bigger purpose. So even when I rededicated my life to the Lord, I went back to church, right? To this church, and I really wanted to work with teenagers. Because I just had a desire to work with them. You know, the reason was I actually got to start a middle school ministry, a Cantonese middle school ministry with some other couples. But even seeing their lives, like, the times haven't changed. They're still growing up in Oakland. They're still growing up in the ghettos. They're still getting picked on. The parents can't really help them because they don't speak English. Yeah. Can't really complain to the school. They don't really do anything. Yeah. So at the end of the day, they didn't have hope. They were fending for themselves. Yeah. And that's kind of how I felt, because when we went to that small little church, we didn't have anybody mentoring us. There wasn't a youth group. Basically, there's a handful of us young kids, and then there's a handful of like young adults that are working. But nobody poured in my life. Nobody gave me hope when I needed hope the most. Fear just overcame all of that. Wow. And going back, I saw that fear was taking part of their lives too, with the middle schoolers that I was working with. And I really wanted to be the person who would be by their side to give them hope. There's limited stuff I can do, but at least I can help them see that there's hope in Christ. There's hope in God, even when it seems like there's none, even when their fears override them. So I got to work with them for 6 years, and I was just there from basically 2001 till 2007 working with them.
Right on.
So
wow.
All the while I was still in college learning. And
what were you studying?
I was doing business administration. Okay. And option in telecommunication management, kind of following under my dad. Right. So I loved computers, so I was a geek and computer geek and stuff like that. So nice. Yeah, I always tell this story, which is super funny. So this was back in the days before broadband internet, like super fast internet. This is dial-up. You know, where so my brother and I were so nerdy that we would have one computer with the modem that dials up. Yeah. And then a LAN card that comes out of the Ethernet, and we have a little hub. It's not a switch. If you know, you know. A hub is pre-switch, so it's a dumb switch. So you gotta like type in everything, give all the commands yourself, and then we would like have the hub share with the communicate with the other computer we have, so we can both go online and play video games at the same time. What? All through one dial-up line. That's super slow. It seems ridiculous now, but it's like that's what we did. Like, so both of us could play at the same time.
Dude, that's some next level stuff. Yeah. You invented, what would you call that? Local streaming or local networking?
Local networking. Yeah. Well, it was there, but we were like, super, super early adopters.
Wow. Cutting edge. I was just talking to one of our juniors in high school a couple of days ago about like that you and I have lived through every phase of like computer development.
Oh yeah.
And just telling her about like, yeah, pagers, and like phones where the cord was like stuck to the wall. And like when I was in fourth grade, I remember it was a big deal because my school got Apple II desktop computers, and that was a big deal. We had a computer lab, and then like Windows 96 or 95 was a big deal, and like and I remember saying one time, you know what I would love is if we could have a device that's a phone, a digital camera, a GPS, and a Palm Pilot, all in one thing. And I was like, no way.
No way.
After that, it'll hover or something like, Dude, but look now, we got. I never thought about like internet access and
yeah, you were
1,000 apps and Clash Royale and
you weren't dreaming big enough.
I know, darn it. Yeah. I'm not a visionary. That's the problem. Wow.
I don't know. I feel like I'm older than you. I don't know. Like, because I didn't start with Windows. I started with DOS 6.0. And those, 5 1/4 floppy disks, those big ones.
I remember that. Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
You play the Oregon
commands. That's crazy.
See, I came in after that. That was beyond me. I was a late adopter.
My first email, we didn't even have home internet. Nobody had home internet.
No.
I would go to the library and use the terminal, like the green thing, kind of like the apples.
Yeah.
The old and you type in, and I got a Hotmail account.
Oh, gosh.
Through the library internet. That's text only. There's no user interface. You don't see pictures. It's just all text when you like.
Wow.
It's crazy.
You're an early adopter.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I was a late adopter. I didn't have email until, gosh, I was almost in college.
Well, our first computer was a DOS 6 DX2. It's like 66 megahertz. We're like 3 point something gigahertz now, and there's like 66, and there's a turbo button. You press it, and it goes to 100. You're like, yeah.
Dude, think about what's going on. We're streaming live through Facebook right now. I've got a 4K video streaming to my TV just so I can have something here, so it's not a blank screen.
I didn't even notice that was on there.
That's on. Yeah, okay. You don't know. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean. Anyway, her mind was like, really? Like, you had to read books? Like, for research?
I forgot the Facebook Live was there. I hope I haven't picked in my nose yet.
No, we've been good. Okay. You've been good. Okay, right. They saw us messing with that thing, but...
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't even know how many people are on this thing.
None.
I think...
It don't matter.
We got a couple. Hi, Sarah. It's good to see you. Okay.
Sarah who?
Sarah Munakawa.
Oh.
There she is.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's take me to where Diana came into the picture.
Okay, Diana came into the picture. Yeah, she came into the picture when I was in college.
Okay.
We're at the church, and then I was one of the helpers to start a youth worship.
Okay.
So Diana's 4 years younger than me, so she was still in high school.
Right.
So we launched the youth worship for the Cantonese group. We had our own separate place and stuff like that, and worship team and stuff. So I was the AV guy, so I was doing the sound and
that makes sense,
and the PowerPoint stuff.
Yeah.
So afterwards we would have these hangouts, where we just hang out because we end earlier than the adults.
Yeah.
So we either mess around playing music or like bring food and kind of hang out. So there's this one time where I was kind of like playing the guitar, and then like she notices me, and then she's like, "Oh, can you teach me some stuff?"
Sparks.
Stuff? Yeah. I was like, I taught her some chords. I taught her like 3 chords, C, G, and D. And
you can play anything with that.
Yeah,
right?
She's like, yeah. I was like, and then there's this other time where I noticed she was playing this song on a piano. So she was playing "As the Deer," which is like one of my favorite songs back in the days. I still love it, but it's yeah. So she was playing that. I was like, "As the Deer, piano, long hair, perfect.
Dream woman.
Dream woman.
Yep.
That's right. You know, when they're playing when they're playing the piano, you see they're kind of like the backside. You got the long hair, and it's like
It's magical.
It's like their body's like flowing. You're like, wow. And then this other week, you know, she brought brownies and like,
That's it.
cook,
Seals the deal.
music,
Dang it.
you know, piano, and then like, that's one of the things I wish I knew how to play, like piano.
Yeah.
We grew up, you know, never really had money to get lessons or anything. So
I have a guitar sitting right there that I've been learning to play, air quotes, for 2 years.
well, here's the funny thing.
I can't even do one.
Here's the funny thing. I have 4 guitars in my house, but I don't know how to play the
You
guitar.
don't play. You're just waiting for them to be valuable again, so you can sell.
I only knew how to play like 5 chords.
Yeah.
And you know what? The crazy thing is, like, we start like talking, we play basketball together and stuff.
Right.
And we find this out later. She doesn't know how to play the piano.
No.
She only knows how to play that one song. She learned it from like rote memory so that she can play for offering. And she doesn't know how to cook.
What?
She only knows how to bake brownies.
The joke's on you.
We think it scammed each other into a relationship.
That's so funny.
So that's the story we like to tell, and that's how it went down. We realized later she doesn't. We didn't know what we thought we were attracted to. We didn't really know.
Dude, I love it. Oh, that's the best.
So, but yeah, eventually it was. Yeah, it was.
I guess there's more to love than brownies and piano playing.
There is. It's a thing called commitment.
Yeah.
So.
Hey. All right. So once you got past that, then you began to be something, right?
Yeah, we started becoming something. That was actually a really hard time because Dinah's mom has had leukemia during this time. She was okay for a while, and then she had a relapse. So the year we kind of started dating was when her health started going bad again. So
Okay.
this was in 2007.
Okay.
So it got pretty bad. That's why I say commitment,
Yeah.
because I kind of dated this. I don't even know. Like, it might have been like 6 months to a year. Kind of dated this girl for 6 months to a year, and I don't really know, right? You're like, so many things going on, and
Right.
this was also the time I was actually going to go to seminary. So I was going to move away soon. So I was going to go to Dallas for seminary for 4 years. So this was like a year before, kind of like a year before that, and I still remember like Dinah's mom on her deathbed. She couldn't really talk, intubated with tubes and stuff.
Wow.
And we went into her room, and yeah, I kind of got the feeling she wanted to talk to me, right? So she kind of like tells everybody to go, like, leave the room, and I'm like the only one with Diana there.
But you stay. Huh.
Yeah, me and Diana were there, and like I was holding her hand, and she couldn't talk because she was intubated, but she gave me the look, like the look of take care of my daughter. You know, I was like, but I wasn't that old then, right? I was 2007, I guess I was around, I don't know, 25 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
25, 26, something like that. And
Yeah,
I remember
25.
standing there, and I was like, I nodded and I said, yeah, I'll take care of her. And I was only like 6 months to a year, probably like 6 months into our relationship.
Yeah.
And I was going to go away for 4 years, so we were going to long distance for 4 years.
Whoa.
And it was crazy. But that commitment was kind of what drove us through.
Wow.
So even when I was in Dallas.
So you moved to
Yeah, I moved to Dallas
for the full 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, I wasn't that rich, right? So
Yeah.
I only came back to the Bay Area once a year,
Right.
and I was taking summer classes. So it was pretty crazy. But Diana also started going to Azusa Pacific in LA. So she actually moved away, but her mom passed away that year. So
She needed a change of scenery anyway.
Yeah, so she got accepted to Sousa Pacific. She wanted to do her nurse and her nurse practitioner program. So they have like a 2.5 year program that does that. So
right.
So she got a bachelor in Davis, UC Davis, human development. So she wanted to go down there to do that. So she applied and they accepted her. And so she went to, well, at the beginning, she was still in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Or UC Davis. And then
right.
I was in Dallas. So I think one thing that really solidified the relationship was the commitment.
Yeah.
And then another C is the communication.
Ooh.
So
you're turning into a pastor now. There should be another C, right? Is there a third one? Yeah.
Chemistry. No. No. So the communication was super important. We would not, if we got into an argument, we would not like hang up the phone until we solved it. Even if we spoke into the wee hours of the morning, and more so in my time zone because I was 2 hours ahead. So,
yeah. Okay. Wow.
So there are times where like we got so frustrated we would I almost threw the phone against the wall because we were so frustrated. But we resolved it, right, based on the communication and the commitment kind of I made to her mom and God, really.
Yeah.
Because when I said yes, I kind of already knew I was in it for the long haul.
Wow.
So long distance was hard. Distance was hard because it got a little better for anybody doing long distance. Take the time early, or not early, like kind of midway through or something, to visit where the person is. Get to know their friends. Because I realized that I was telling her about all these people she's never really met. And she couldn't visualize any of it.
Right.
Like, because it's people she's never met. Like, I'm telling her this, like, we're basically living separate lives, and she couldn't visualize it because she's never met those people.
Right.
But once she meets those people, it's a lot stinking better, right? It's like, oh, she understands a lot more. So, if you do long distance, take the time to know their friends, the community they're in over there, wherever they are. So
I agree.
So that's helpful. So, yeah, but the first year was tough because she was kind of at Davis, and I was super busy in seminary. Super busy. So yeah, I was there, and then she was like kind of not cruising through Davis, but she obviously had more time. But once she got to actually in LA, she got a lot more busy, and then it was harder for us to talk. So
yeah, even finding time for a phone call.
Yeah, we weren't
regular. It's rough.
We weren't the couple that needed to talk every day though. Like we might talk like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah,
that might be it.
Yeah.
We kind of text each other, but like or I don't know if it was MSN or AOL, whatever it was, some kind of messaging.
Right.
So that's what we would do. So I went to seminary and got my degree, 120 units, 4 years later.
Woo.
Mastered theology.
MDiv.
No, THM.
Oh.
MDiv is 3 years.
MDiv. So you went next level.
Yeah, the
Jedi level.
The biggest program you can go.
What's beyond that? PhD.
Yeah, PhD. No, there's doctorate in ministry, I think.
Dr. Poon. That sounds good. No?
No more school, man.
Okay.
I hate school. You
did a lot of it.
I love learning, but I hate school.
Yeah. You want to learn on your own terms.
Well, I want to learn following a Jedi master, like a little Jedi. I love like the apprenticeship style where like a blacksmith like teaches somebody else, teaches apprentice the trade. I love that kind of teaching. But
I've learned more from just individual, like finding people who are willing to take that. Like your teacher who taught you English, right? It's the same kind of like if you can find that person who's willing to teach you, you can learn so much. So much. Yeah. That's how I feel recently, right?
Yeah, I'm an audio-visual learner, so reading books doesn't really do it for me. But it's weird. I mean, God wired me in a way where I actually got decent grades, It's like
somehow
somehow
you got those B's.
Yeah, something like that. No, I got A's. No, I got C's too.
Yeah. I always tell people about my GPA was 3.0, but that's only because every year I had 0 period jazz, the band, first period concert band.
Oh,
Third
man.
period, PE. And then 8th period was like independent study.
Wait, what instrument you play?
Trombone.
Oh,
It's sitting right there in that little case. See it? It's peeking out. I haven't touched it in like 5 years, but it's back there.
Oh, the big thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That thing padded my GPA for 4 years, man.
Buffer.
Yeah, it would have been like a 1.9 or something like that otherwise. Sorry, Mom.
Well, I got the Asian genes. I don't know.
Yeah. Dang it. You got the math. So you graduate with not the M, what'd you call it? The M, what?
THM.
THM.
Yeah, Master of Theology.
Master. Why do they say THM if it's MTA?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Master of Theology.
Yeah.
And then from there, what was the plan? Like, how'd you use it?
The plan was I actually went into seminary not knowing what I was going to do. So
Okay.
I knew I had a passion for it. I knew that there were a lot of people that needed hope. Yeah, I basically made a commitment to God one summer camp. That's why I'm a big proponent of camps. God just kind of spoke to me and made a commitment that I was going to serve him for the rest of my life. I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
But within the Chinese community, you realistically can only they expect you to be a pastor or a missionary. So that's kind of like what it looks like to be a full-time minister or full-time, serving God.
Right.
So I went to seminary because I knew I had the passion, but I don't have the knowledge. So I don't want to be teaching the wrong stuff, right?
Right.
So I just decided that I was going to go, and most of our pastors were from Dallas Theological Seminary, so I just
go there.
applied. I just applied.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so highly recommended. And part of it is because also within the Chinese community, your degree matters.
Right.
So within the Chinese church, you're basically, if you don't have a degree, they don't even hire you as a pastor.
Huh.
So that's just the way it works. So yeah, I went, and I don't know what I was going to do. God put me in a circle with everybody that seemed to want to be missionaries. Yeah, it was weird. So, but it opened my eyes so much. Like in my little world, I was thinking, whoa, I'm just going to go back and, work with students here.
Yeah.
But yeah, God opened my heart to greater things, and I don't know what's going to come to that, maybe I'll be a missionary one day. I don't know, but
wow.
Yeah, so I didn't really know, but I knew I needed to be equipped a little more. So
Yeah.
I went and got equipped. But
Really equipped. Jedi equipped.
Well, I don't know. I'm one of those people. I'm like a lazy person, So I didn't even bother like looking at different programs. So like people just recommended it, and I was like, okay, let's just do it, right? It's
Yeah.
like, I didn't even bother looking, so I just applied to one school, and
That's funny.
I just went. Yeah.
Give that a little tug closer to you.
Oh, am I losing?
Oh, there we go.
My bad.
Beautiful. So at what point then did you marry Diana?
We got married in July 30th, 2011.
So you remember that date. Good job. You got one.
You know what the crazy thing was? I said we've been married for like 6 years, like 2 weeks ago, but we've been married for 7. It's like one of those things. Like I'm really bad with birthdays too.
Yeah.
Like, I'll forget my own birthday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
There was a time when I was 31. I thought I was 31 for 2 years.
Yeah.
Have I told you that?
No, I heard it on the podcast.
Oh, I've said this before. Dang it.
Yeah.
Busted.
You were with somebody.
Yeah.
Faye or somebody. I don't remember.
Right. Yeah. Idiot. Yeah, my mom had to tell me, like, no, you're actually 33. Because I said, hey, I'm turning 32. And she's like, no, you're not. You're turning 30. What? Dang it. I lost a whole year. I got 2 years older all at once.
I guess. Yeah, so I graduated in May, and then we got married in July.
Right on. So that's like, so you did the long distance bit for the full 4 year term. You came back, and within.
Well, she was in LA.
So you came back here.
Well, I drove
What?
from Texas. I drove the Mazda from Oakland to Texas.
That car?
Yeah.
Hey,
It's been places.
it's been around.
So I drove from Texas back to LA, dropped off some of my stuff that I knew was gonna stay there.
Okay.
And then came back home to live with my parents
Yeah.
and prepped basically the wedding for 2 more months.
Wow. So you guys went basically from long distance
To live in the same house.
to wedding.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
To live in the same house. So it's crazy.
So when did you engage? Like, how did that happen?
The engagement was in 2010.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was before the marriage. That's the point.
Yeah, it's
But
New
we-
Year's. Yeah.
So you were still apart.
Yeah.
So you're engaged.
I came back for New Year's or Christmas or something like that.
Okay, and that was when you
Yeah.
you did it, and
I
then
dropped the question.
the marriage is like 7 months later. Wow.
Or 1 year and 7 months earlier. I don't remember.
Right.
It's one of those.
It's one of those.
One of those.
Diana wouldn't know. Just that's the important thing. Wow. That's an incredible like testament to surviving long distance, because most people would tell you that was not a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do it.
Well, that's why commitment and communication is very heavy. Even
The-
now,
the 3 C's of long distance.
Even now, our communication is really good because of that. We had a really good basis.
Right.
So, and a lot of times you see marriages or even relationships breaking apart because of the communication breaks apart. So
Right.
it's yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got married and I moved to LA. Never been there before. I mean, never lived there. So
She was still finishing
yeah, she was
her nursing.
Yeah, I think she finished her nursing by then.
Okay.
She was kind of doing. It's a weird program. You have to kind of like work part time and then like go back while you're working part time to do like more classes to get her master's for nurse practitioner.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Those are both very intensive fields of study.
Yeah.
Just like the two of you got guts.
Well, it's weird to say that. I don't even know if I should talk about this, but like my brother and my sister-in-law.
Yeah.
My brother's a doctor. My sister-in-law's a dentist. So they actually dated for 10 years and finished their school before they got married. So that's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Man, the Poon's got that long game gear, dude. That's incredible.
So yeah. Yeah. So I moved to LA and
Yeah.
I was actually, I guess I would say I was pretty wise. I actually took 6 months of not looking into getting a job,
Right.
just so we can settle in as a couple. Because she was like overworked. She was like, I think she was doing like night shifts too. I don't remember, but like, so I was basically like the cook, the clean, the laundry guy,
Yeah.
so that we figure out what it looks like to live in the same house. Because
Right.
we didn't even have like those moments where you like go to your girlfriend's house to cook dinner and stuff. We didn't have any of that stuff because we were long distance.
That's right. Yeah, you
it's-
jumped right
it's
into it.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Dude.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I've never heard that before. Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard that. That's cool.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, if it weren't for the 3 C's.
That's right.
Dang. So I didn't know you even lived in LA. That's news to me. So that's in like 2008, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
2007. And then so how long were you in LA? What did that look like, and when did you end up?
No, that was in 2011. I went to
Right,
school
okay,
in 2011.
7,
Yeah.
11. Okay.
Yeah. So I was there for 3 years. So 4 years, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was there, and then I didn't work for half a year, and then basically part of my laziness, right? I didn't really need to look for a job because the church that Diana was going to, they've been looking for a Cantonese college pastor for years. I was like, it's weird because God always put me with college students.
Yeah.
Like even when I was in Texas, I was working with college students,
Yeah.
international students. And so I just applied, and coming from the Dallas resume, they just kind of hired me.
Yeah. Fluent Cantonese.
Fluent Cantonese.
Dallas grad.
Yeah. My literacy is pretty bad in Cantonese or Chinese though, so it's weird. So yeah, so there are times where I have to like teach Sunday school. I have to preach in Cantonese.
Wow.
which wasn't. People just make fun of me. You know, people just start laughing because I say the wrong thing. Right, but it's okay. It's part of who I am. They know I'm like, you know, the
right.
almost American-born Chinese.
Yeah.
So as opposed to Diana's truly American-born, but she speaks fluent Cantonese too, which is crazy.
Wow. Do you think you guys will teach Wyatt?
Yeah,
Cantonese?
we do. He speaks Cantonese. I mean, he speaks Cantonese.
You speak it around the house?
Yeah. He understands it.
That's good.
We talk to him in Cantonese.
That's good.
Well, partly because like my mom still doesn't really speak English.
Wait, he speaks?
Yeah, he says "yat," which is one in Cantonese.
Dang it!
Yeah, we ask him how old he is in Cantonese, and he'll say "yat."
No way!
Yeah,
That's the cutest thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and Zach was over at our house the other day. He's like, we taught him like "che che me sang."
Yeah,
and then he says it to him, and then White goes vroom vroom. So che che is car, me sang is what sound. So
that is so fun.
Yeah, it's just,
Wyatt's like a little superhero in our little world. Everyone loves that kid.
Yeah.
Dang
Hope
it.
he doesn't get spoiled. Don't spoil him. Don't spoil him.
No promises.
Yeah.
I'm known to spoil in some ways. Wow. So then, okay. So you're the college pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Diana finishes up her
Yeah.
education at some point. So how did it go from there?
So I was doing the Cantonese college pastor. I was basically pastoring 50 kids.
Okay.
So we had 50 Cantonese college students. So I was basically running a mini church. So we had our own worship team. We had our own like leaders. We had our own Bible study leaders, small group leaders, all of that. So on top of that, I was, basically doing regular church duties, right? Like teaching Sunday school, adult Sunday school, preaching on Sunday. Not every Sunday. I just normally doing like
once in a while.
Once every other month or so.
Yeah.
Or once a quarter or whatever it is.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then she finished her thing up. And then we basically were like deciding, well, we're planning to start a family. It's about time, right? So we're like, we either move back up north to be with our family so that our kids can grow up with their cousins.
Right.
Or we have kids in LA and we basically kind of stay there for a while.
Yeah.
Because once you have kids, you basically sit. So
yeah, you're gonna root.
So yeah, we decided we're gonna move back up to be closer to family. So that because family's a big thing for us. So, so we really wanted to be closer to family so they can hang out with them. So
do your brothers have kids?
Yeah.
Also,
they both have 2 each.
Okay.
So
there's going to be a cousins thing and all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Right on. And then now, was Diana working there yet, or was
working where? LA?
Yeah.
She was working.
She was working through school, but like, did she graduate and then get a job and then?
No.
Okay, so that was kind of
So she was working basically kind of almost full time.
Right.
At Children's Hospital of LA, pediatric ICU. So
okay.
She was doing some crazy intensive stuff.
Dude, the pediatric ICU is terrifying. Oh gosh.
Yeah. I
have no envy of that.
It's pretty crazy.
Labor and delivery and the pediatric ICU are the two most terrifying places on earth.
Yeah. So
I'd rather grow up in the ghetto of Oakland than.
Well, that's part of the problem. Like, she doesn't like normal stuff.
Yeah.
She gets bored, so she like, and she only likes pediatrics, so she doesn't want to do like emergency room or anything like that. So
every time I hear her, Brianna McVean, Annie Tay talk about like the whole like pediatric birth delivery, it's absolutely terrifying. Like I thank God women do what they do. But I'm so glad I don't have to be like involved in that, except to like hold a hand, to be supportive. Oh my gosh, it's terrifying.
Yeah. It is.
So when you guys moved up here, what was the landing plan? Like who got jobs and what was life like when you got here?
We actually moved to Sunnyvale.
Okay.
You probably don't know about this. I know
about Sunnyvale.
We were at the church plant.
Yeah.
another church plant.
Right. Before you
Came to resident.
Before you came to resident. Yeah.
So we were at a church plant. So
Okay.
when we decided to move back up north,
Right.
one of my old kind of like classmates, kind of like my mentor. So he was like, oh, you know, God, I kind of quit my job. He was pastoring in the church in Sunnyvale. He was like, God
Okay.
gave me this vision to start a church, a Cantonese speaking church in Sunnyvale
Yeah.
for the newer generation. So he asked me to pray about it. And then after we prayed a while, we were like at peace. We're like, okay, let's do this. So we kind of like, okay, let's do this. We told him, and then, yeah, and then we broke out in fear. Literally the day after, I think,
Yeah.
you know, Satan just kind of like
Right.
hit our heart. It was like, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna financially make it? Dinah didn't have a job, and we were actually making a 2-year commitment to not have salaries for a
Right.
whole 2 year of church planting, because we might not be bringing in any money. So
Yeah.
if there was money, then we might get a small salary. But we were gonna actually, I was in it for not having a salary. I was okay with that. That's commitment, right?
Wow.
So going in faith, but yeah, and you know, after that, the 2 days we're like scared. We're like, Silicon Valley's pretty expensive for rent.
Sunnyvale.
yeah,
Dude.
and didn't have a job.
Yeah.
So Dinah didn't, and this was her first nurse practitioner job she was going to apply to. She doesn't have any experience,
Right.
and she only, this is partly Dinah's thing, she only wants to work at realistically two hospitals. So she only wanted to either work at Children's of Stanford, which
Yeah.
is Lucille Packard,
Right.
or UCSF. So those are the only
Wow.
two hospitals that she wanted to do.
Aim high.
Yeah, well, she's pretty ambitious.
Yeah, I've heard Packard isn't all that.
Yeah. But yeah, we were scared, and she applied, and then actually one of her current coworkers,
Huh.
took her job
No.
when she applied, and then but they actually had funding, and they opened up a new spot, so she reapplied and she got in, and she actually got into 2 departments, and they both offered her.
Which one did she end up at?
She's at neurosurgery. So she's at pediatric neurosurgery nurse practitioner.
Gosh.
So that's where she's at.
As if pediatrics isn't enough.
Yeah.
We're talking
It's
about
crazy.
pediatric brain surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, she doesn't do the surgery. She does like
yeah.
other stuff. But
Just being involved in that.
yeah, it's pretty
Oh,
crazy.
my God.
Sometimes when they have free time, they sit in the surgery, the OR, and observe. It's pretty cool. So
Diana,
she's crazy. I mean,
she's a beast.
she is. She's beastly.
Oh my gosh. Pediatric brain surgery.
Yeah. So that's part of the story. We moved up to Sunnyvale, and
Yeah.
it was crazy because God provides. There was a couple that was supposed to church plant and be on a core team with us,
Yeah.
but the husband's company sent them overseas to England for a year to work. So they basically generously rented us their home for like half of the market value. They had a townhome right across the street from AMD, basically. So
Dude.
so
Sweet.
God just provided. You know, God provided a job.
Yeah.
and
You're
God
supposed to be
provided
here.
the house. So
Wow.
yeah, and then we were there. I was there for a year and a half. I ended up not finishing my 2 years because after a year of living there, God didn't allow me to see a vision. The dog snoring. We're like cracking up because the dog snoring. So God didn't. After living in Sunnyvale for a year, I didn't see a need for a Cantonese speaking church. I didn't see a high population of Cantonese speakers. There's a lot of Mandarin speakers.
Yeah.
But
so I remember you telling me this
Yeah.
once. Like first time I met you, I was asking you about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after a year, I was like, I don't really see a need. God hasn't really opened up my eyes
Right.
to the need, and I don't really have a passion for it because I don't see a need. Like, what am I doing? So after prayer for actually half more year, you know,
Wow.
I was like, I don't know if I can do this. It was just down to a point where I didn't have any motivation. I was just kind of like waking up and like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So yeah, it got to a point where I think I just needed to walk away, you know. So yeah, after another half a year, I basically resigned but a part of me, a human part was like, I need to keep my commitment to God. I said I was going to go in for 2 years, but I think it was eating up inside of me so bad that I was just going to do damage if I stayed. So yeah, I just decided to resign. So I did, and before I resigned, I actually went to a little conference called Exponential in LA.
Yeah.
That was at Mariners Church,
Yep.
And I was did you hear this story? How I came to Resonate?
No.
Okay. So I was there.
That's on my list to ask you here. Right there. See?
I was at Exponential, and then I was just sitting there at lunch talking to these two people that were kind of like interviewing me about church planting. So then they had something to do, so they left, and I was sitting at the table by myself, and then two people walk up.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, can we sit here for lunch?" I'm like, "Sure," because there's no more seats left.
Right.
So they sit down, and one of them's Jen.
Jen Haya.
Yeah.
Hey.
And the other one, sorry, I don't remember who that was.
Oh no.
But the other person, and then we just start sitting there and talk about church vision and what church plans look like and what a church should be.
Wow.
And I was telling them, yeah, I really want to be at a church where, church planting, where we're impacting the community, right? We're like out there in the community, and we're like helping non-believers come to see the love of Christ and to be active participants of that. And they were like, that's what we do at Resonate. And I'm like, Resonate? I've never heard of this church. They're like, oh yeah, we're like this church in Fremont, and then I look at the brochure, Ryan Kwan's one of the speakers, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh. So I hear him, he's like, oh.
Not Francis Chan. Ryan Kwan.
So I was like, oh, Ryan Kwan. Oh.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, he's all right. No, he's pretty good.
He's all right.
So
yeah,
I was like, oh, one day I'll check it out,
Yeah.
And after we resigned, and we visited a couple of churches. We actually visited Francis Chan's We Are Church.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because our friend went there, and she really wanted us to visit. And yeah, so we went, and
wow, so we beat.
No.
We
I
beat
just went once. Okay. Well, actually, that was how much time we have?
Dude, it's my show, man.
All right. So here's the story. We went to We Are Church one time.
Yeah.
And they meet in homes, and they don't really meet together. They only meet once a month together in the park.
Yeah.
So we would go there, and I think we needed to be there that specific week. We could have gone any other week, but we went that specific week because we visited some other churches, some of our friends and stuff, just kind of to get out. So we went there, and what they do is they kind of read the same passage every week. I mean, not every week. Everybody, the whole church reads the same scripture every week throughout the week, and they kind of meet together on Sunday and talk about it.
Right.
So that's kind of what they do.
Okay.
So we sit there, and they're just reading, I don't remember what passage, but basically, one of the persons was like, I was reading this, and I work for the government, and I was like thinking, making government rules or laws will help change the kingdom work. But realistically, it doesn't. Only God can change it. God is the only one that's in control who can change our society. And she's like, after reading that week and studying, she felt convicted that God wanted her to do something greater. God was calling her to something greater than trusting in the government to make changes. So she actually turned in a resignation letter for like, I don't know, 3 months later or something like that.
Wow.
And said, God, I'm going to open up my life so that God can use me. I'm going to make space. I'm going to create space so that God can speak to me about what he wants me to do later.
Wow.
Which is crazy. But you know what the crazy thing is? 2 other people said the same thing that week. But I think what hit me the most, that's when it, like, I'm a pretty emotional guy. That's when I started, like, weeping. Because that's kind of what I did. Like, I didn't know where I was going. But I was like, God, you have your plans for me. You have our plans for our family. And I'm going to create space so that I can hear what you have for me next in this next season. That's why I decided to start in my resignation letter. But that just being there was like confirmation that God was where we were where we needed to be.
Right.
You know, to open up space, to create space for God to speak into our lives. So after that, we were like, okay, we'll check our Resonate. So we're like, oh, we'll maybe go for a month and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Second week, we get there. It's MC Expo. It's New Year's of 2017. So it's brand new year.
Yeah.
We were meeting in the theater.
Right.
Plushy seats. I was
Yeah.
like, cool.
Yeah.
This is like nice.
No, don't get used to that.
We got suckered. It seems to be the story of my life. Getting suckered.
Right,
into.
right. You thought it was going to be great. And then
So yeah, second week we had MCX. First week was good, and then the second week we had metal chairs. Or like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, that's cool.
back to normal.
Yeah, and then we had MC Expo, and I bump into Chase because deep down we really want to get plugged in with youth ministry. 'Cause
Yeah.
we've always kind of had a passion for youth.
Right.
So we bump into Chase, and Chase is like, of course, Chase, right? And then we're like, and then we ended up going to AMP and checking it out, and then
He's like, dude, you got to come to AMP. It's going to be
he
the
was
best
like-
thing.
Well, he came up to me and was like, do I know you? I think I know you. I'm like, no, I never seen you in my life. And then we start talking, and he's like, oh, come check it out. Come check it out. So we come, I think the fourth week we go actually check it out because we missed a
Yeah.
week or something like that.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, this is cool. And then we like, it's crazy because we just like basically applied to be leaders.
Yeah.
We're like fresh at the church.
Yeah.
But what made it home was the third week of worship. The third week of worship, we walked out of worship and we're walking to the car, and Dinah, we talk, and Dinah and I was talking, and like, you know what? I think this is home. I think this is home. I think this is where God wants us. And she had the same feeling. Like, basically, like, I think this is home. And what made it really clear was just before we even did anything, we knew what the mission of the church was.
Right.
Which is really good. Like, a lot of times you go to church, you don't really know what they're
Yeah.
they're
What are we
about.
doing?
So you know, to make the gospel known, right? To
Yeah.
make people and to be impacting the community and where we are. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you know. And another thing I really love about Resonate, even though it could be taken advantage of, is the free Bibles. I've always held the belief for the longest time that if we find the Word of God so precious,
Yeah.
we ought to give it away for free.
Yeah.
And I come from a Chinese church background where, you know, budget is everything, and we don't have budget to buy people Bibles and
Right.
give them out. So even like sometimes baptism, it's like we want to use the church budget to give them a gift for a Bible. We can't. I don't have budget for that. So I had to like pull money out of, or like the small group chips in to buy them a Bible. And like, come on, you know, if we really believe that this thing's going to change lives,
Right.
we really need to be given this. Of course, you can find it online and stuff nowadays, but it's like,
Right.
it's different. You know, you never know. You hear so many stories of like people storing the Bible away, right? And then one day they open it. That's kind of like my story too. Of course, I went to church, but like,
Yeah.
you know, if I didn't have a Bible that night, I wouldn't have. I don't know what I would have. Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
We've been going through a lot
oh yeah,
lately.
I know.
Piles of them.
Yeah,
Like,
that's good.
people are taking them. Yeah.
that's
Great. Great.
Yeah, I hope
Even-
nobody's taking them to sell.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, what kind of market is there out there?
I don't think so.
eBay.
Not much market.
I'm going to look on eBay. If I find any of our Bibles, I'm going to call them. Give me those back. Now, we do a thing with the kids where we buy these really cute, you know, leather Bibles for like $15 or whatever, and we sell them to the kids for $5. And it's
Yeah.
like a, you know, they have to like, you know, you can't just buy it, like talk to your parents, bring them in and make it a thing. Cause we want it to be like a big deal. Like on their initiative, like Mom and Dad, I want to buy my very own, like it's almost like when a kid gets their blue belt, you know, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really cute the way that works. But yeah, we tell the kids this is the best book you can read.
Yeah.
You know, these are the thoughts of God. Like you're going to read God's mind. Yours is going to be more like his.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. That's
So
amazing.
then you, I remember when you guys came to AMP, and you seemed to fit in fast. Because
I guess so.
Well, yeah, because you came and then you were going to a winter camp right away.
We did, yeah.
Really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. The expo,
Well, that's when we didn't have a kid yet.
Right. That's when you showed up to everything.
That's right. I mean, we were married. We still had
I remember WK was everywhere. This guy, like, who is this?
Well, yeah, because that's how we got closer, because I was coming to help build and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I was building sets.
Time, man.
Yeah, he was the handiest guy I know. It's like we figured some stuff out.
Yeah. I remember the slingshot we built? And it got stolen?
Yeah. Dang it. Man, I forgot about that.
The Easter thing.
Yeah, we built... did you see the trebuchet?
I saw your trebuchet.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it online.
It's sitting out here. I should show it to you before you leave. It's in my yard. It's everything I could do not to lay siege to my neighborhood right now, because it's right there. Anyway, that's right. Someone stole that thing that we built.
Yeah.
That was like one of the biggest epiphany genius moments, because there's like this mechanical puzzle that I just was not, and you're like, why don't we do this? And it like folds up and collapses on itself, and it's like portable, durable. I was like, oh, I love this guy. Yes.
Somebody stole it.
You're my favorite person for a minute. Yeah, someone took that.
Well,
that bugs me. They couldn't even know what it was. They just saw the lumber.
Yeah.
They just wanted some 2x4. It's ridiculous. Anyways, what was your experience with Amplify as you came into that? Like, what was your kind of your first impression of it, and just going to the camps and all that? I'm just always curious to hear people's take on that.
I think AMP does a good job at reaching their target audience. Just with the interaction with the games. I mean, you really need all of that stuff and the energy. I think the camps are also good. It really is. Every time we go to camps, we have deeper discussions. Yeah, and it just really, things get real. And conversations get real. And but I think the hard part is always having enough leaders. I think there's so many people coming in, right? It's like, because you have this giant group that's like 15 people or whatever. It's like, and it's hard sometimes. You have like so many people, but I think it's definitely speaking into their lives to get them ready for the next season, right? But with any ministry, we don't have control over it. We just hope that at their most down moments or whatever, they go back to God and they remember it, like kind of like I did, right? Yeah,
it finally has a spot to land on them.
Yeah. And I think AMP does a good job at building those relationships too, where when they do get to that moment, they might actually reach out to their leaders, which is crazy, right? And those are the moments that we kind of look for, right?
So then you served in AMP for maybe a year or so?
Yeah, like
something like that.
Year and a half.
And then so talk about the college ministry.
Well, after a year, I think I was still there for a while. Oh yeah.
You did double duty for a minute.
Yeah, I did double duty for a while.
And then Wyatt.
Yeah, and then Wyatt happened.
Yeah, he happened.
Well, I was just at the office one day. I think I was building with you or something, and then I overheard Angela talking about college ministry. Like,
right.
I was like, what? College? And I was like, I did college ministry. That's like...
Yeah.
Well, it's a weird...
That was a hot day, and you disappeared for like 2 hours.
Oh, really?
I was like, where did this guy go?
Oh.
You were talking to her. That's what that was.
Oh, I don't remember
I forgave you. I let it go. It's okay.
Well, I'm not bitter.
What
was weird was when I was talking to people just at AMP and stuff, or even at church, they found out I was doing college ministry. But what was weird was, like Resonate didn't have a college ministry.
Right.
Like all the Chinese churches I've been to has a college ministry. I guess there's not that many Chinese like in a varsity or campus crusade in the colleges. So that's why there's a need.
Right.
But I didn't realize that American churches didn't have college ministries. I was like, whoa, I was blown away. I was
yeah.
But anyways,
I haven't figured that out yet.
Well, partly because a lot of them go away for college, but nowadays more and more are kind of
Yeah.
staying at CCs for a little bit before they transfer, so they're
Right.
they're around a little more. So yeah. So anyways, Angela was talking about it, and so I talked to her, and we're like, yeah, I would like to come help. Whatever help I can offer,
Right.
I'll do it. So we launched this thing with like 12 people a year and a half or so ago, and yeah, and God really, that core group was really close, and
Yeah.
you see people growing, and yeah, God just kind of blew it up this year, and we had like 60 at the launch, outreach, but then like it always dwindles down a little bit,
Yeah.
so we have like 30 every
Consistently.
week. Yeah, consistently, which is good, and we
Dude, that ain't bad.
we actually wouldn't be able to handle anymore.
Right.
We don't have enough leaders. It's like any
Right.
real
Right.
ministry, and it's like, oh, we have shortage of leaders and stuff like that. So, but yeah, God really moved in that area, and eventually Angela had to like take a step down because
Right.
from her leading role, because she was like, oh, church got busy and stuff like that. So she was just doing that as a volunteer, and as was I, and,
Right.
and she had to take a step back, and basically I stepped up to take reign, and that's when I had to leave from AMP. There's no real way I can take the leadership role and do AMP at the same time.
Yeah.
That just wouldn't be fair for anybody, realistically.
Yeah, on a serve staff,
Yeah.
basis, you can't be that deep into two ministries.
Yeah, and we had Wyatt, so
And you have there's a whole ministry in itself.
yeah, so that's crazy.
Right. Yeah. What has been the fruits of doing college ministry so far? So that was roughly a year or so, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Well, because Wyatt is what did you say?
Yeah, it's pretty much
he's
been
one.
a year and a half.
He's one.
He's
What's the
16
word?
months, yeah.
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 He's yacht.
Yeah. So, I think we're seeing people have a genuine desire to follow Christ. I think that's always a positive. And we see people making wise decisions, based on not just peer pressure, right?
Yeah.
But based on a decision to actually change their lives and be impacted by the gospel to where their lives and their actions actually change. But that doesn't always happen. But that's okay, right? Because we're like I said before, we're if I was changing people, then I wish it would be easier. But God is the one in control.
Yeah.
So it's not like I put X amount of effort into this and it's gonna always come to fruit. But there's been stories where we just hear sharing where we didn't play any part in it. And
Right.
God just kind of spoke to them, and they're here because of that.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of adding water to the plant, and helping them grow and helping them turn to Christ even more, and put that as put the gospel and understand the gospel even deeper, so that their lives can be changed. And that's what I want to bridge. That's always the thing I want to bridge, right? The biblical knowledge with just experiencing the truth of the gospel,
Yeah.
and where your life changes. And your priorities change, your mind is transformed, right? And the things you seek out is different. It's like what you were saying at the camp, right? When you turn your eyes upon Jesus, everything in this world grows strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace. And and that's what I desire so much for these students. But that doesn't always happen, and it doesn't happen on my account or
you can't make
my
it.
timing. So all I can do is just love them, right?
Yeah.
And present them with gospel truth, and
Yeah.
hopefully they realize it one day.
I think that's one of the biggest lies of this kind of ministry, is that we tend to think, like, if I could just say the right thing today, phrase this right, if we just do this enough times, then they're going to get it.
Yeah.
But that just does not work. You just frustrate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially, I think with the colleges, a lot of it's relationships. I mean, they're there for their relationships too,
Yeah.
And we're trying to sneak in some stuff that might affect them, right? And realistically, they're kind of there for their friends, and that's okay. That's okay. And God uses all situations.
He can use community.
Oh,
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have a friend of mine named Brett Hall, who's he worked for Cross. What are they now? Cedars Church. And he used to say this thing where you spend a lot of energy and a lot of time building a relationship just so you earn the privilege of being heard once.
Yeah.
You know, you could spend years getting to know somebody, and all you're doing is building equity for that one conversation that when they're finally ready, whenever that is, it's like, there it is. Now that all that time was just for this moment for them. Yeah.
And I think I understand that, and a part of it is that's a thorn in my side. Because I mentioned earlier the brother that I texted that night I rededicated my life to the Lord.
Yeah.
He's actually not actively following right now. So, but there's nothing I can do, right?
Right.
There's nothing I can do but pray for him. But at the same time, it's like I have no control over it, and it's crazy because it's like the guy that brought me back is like now not following. And I'm like,
interesting.
What do I do with that? You know.
So here's a question about college kids. There's a big migration that happens with them. So during the summer, they're all home.
Yeah.
And the ministry blows up, you know, to 60, 70. Who knows this summer, right? What's going to happen? And then winter comes and it shrinks again. And then some of them go, some come. So, how do you, what is you guys' approach to deal with that? Kind of like, you can't really depend on this long-term, long game with them. Yeah. It's a lot more condensed, right? So what, have you figured that out? Like, what do you guys do?
Well, I think one of the things we always do is constantly pour into the leaders. If we have the leaders, if the leaders are experiencing gospel transformation, it bleeds down. And it doesn't always have to be the long run. I've learned more and more that pinpoint conversations where there's just certain times where God like softens their heart, and then the Holy Spirit convicts you to talk to them, and those go longer ways than, you know, having them sit there for every week or every other week for a year sometimes. That's why camps are so valuable sometimes, because you get to kind of just walk away from life and distractions and have meaningful conversations.
Right. And
I think with me, even finding out what it means to be a Christian, it's not always doing certain stuff, right? It's a lot of times it's seizing that moment. It's not about what I can do here, how this ministry is going to turn out. It's about seizing every opportunity that you have and using it.
Being available and willing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times, you know, but it's hard.
Yeah.
I fight it, you know, sometimes. I mean, not sometimes. A lot of times I'm selfish, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to, I'm an introvert, so I don't even want to talk to people a lot of times. It's like, I go into a group setting, and it's like overwhelming for me. It's like, people, it's like, what
you gotta stretch. Okay.
Yeah, and then you like find one person and go talk to them and like isolate yourself, because it's like, I do pretty well with one-on-ones more than so.
Yeah. I like doing that too.
Yeah.
You kind of navigate a crowd and just find one person and just like, okay, I'm going to talk to you now.
Yeah. And well, usually I feel like those are, you can get into more meaningful conversations. Because when it's in group, you just kind of talk about whatever or whatever topic.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're not going to talk about deep stuff.
Yeah.
Standing in a circle of 8, 10 people. No.
So.
Yeah. Well, what do you think is next for you? Because right now, you got a 1-year-old, you got a wife, you got a great church, you got 1822. Like, what's up?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think right now I'm enjoying the season. I mean, God has blessed us tremendously. That's why we see the opportunity to bless others.
Yeah.
And we're taking advantage of that, right? Like, so most people don't know, like right now I'm stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
So I take care of Wyatt full time, and Dinah's my sugar Dinah's my sugar mama. So but I see that as an opportunity for me to focus on ministry. That's why we're investing in 1820. That's why we were investing in AMP and all of that stuff. And
Right.
Just even in the relationships that we have, but I don't know what the next thing is. But I see the positive of being able to have laser focus on a specific ministry where I'm not stretched. Well, it's still stretching me pretty thin because when Wyatt's around, I was just telling people this thing like having Wyatt has changed my life because there's no silence in the house. There's never any silence unless I'm not at the house,
right?
Or Wyatt's not at home, and it's affected a lot of things. Like I can't think straight. I can't concentrate and focus in prepping. It's just a lot harder.
Right.
And we're already blessed because my family's close and they can help. But at the same time, it's still hard. So I don't know what that's gonna like. But I mean, I don't know if Diana's gonna get mad at me. We'll see how many people listens to this.
Yeah.
But we're actually expecting our second child in September.
Shut up!
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
So yeah, we're actually
September. So that's
we're going in for our 11th week ultrasound.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So
Dub K.
That's gonna change things.
Double baby.
That's why I don't know what the next season is gonna look like. It's gonna get busy.
Wow.
So I hope that this get mad at me for announcing it on the podcast.
Get out of it. Wow, what a privilege. Dub K, congratulations, man.
Thanks. Yeah.
2.
A few people know, so.
Yeah. Was there a plan to like come out with that?
No.
Okay. Well, this was it then. That's the big the big news.
We didn't really make an announcement for the first one either because we've been. If you know our journey, we waited 3 years for Wyatt.
Right.
We had a miscarriage in between.
Right.
So that was really hard for us, and we have encountered a lot of people who are having a hard time getting pregnant. So we didn't want it to be like, people might not get upset, but then at the same time, we don't want to like hurt people about making a giant announcement. So we decided that we weren't really going to do that. So people just kind of find out, and so
wow. So you're 3 months in, right?
Yeah, something
like that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be the game changer because
it is.
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I have the capacity with 2 kids to do anything. So maybe it's a season of focusing on a family and discipling them and with everything, right?
Right.
Seasons will change and seasons will end and seasons will start. So whatever it is, so
wow,
we'll see.
All right, maybe this is too early, but have you thought about names?
No.
For number 2?
Well, Diana supposedly has some. Shannon told me.
Oh, okay.
We're hoping for a girl, but we don't even know if it's a guy, boy, or girl. Right. So it's too early. So
yeah, wow, man, that's cool. What a little miracle! Isn't that great? Yeah. I love it. Little future Poons. Well, if Wyatt's any indication, you're gonna have the most adorable family in the world. That kid could melt steel.
We're hoping for another angel baby so that we can continue to do ministry. That's what we're really hoping for.
Yeah.
Because if we have a crazy baby, then that's gonna definitely change things.
Yeah, I'm afraid having kids in a lot of ways because I'm afraid that they'll be just big and weird like me. Yeah. You know, like imagine. It's just not easy, you know.
That's right.
Wow, dude, that's great news. I'm so glad I got to hear it like this. This is so cool.
Yeah,
I'm happy for you.
I was waiting for your, lost for words. She's like,
it's awesome. I'm kind of there. I haven't been like stumped on my own show yet. Back to the list. This is why I write things down.
Really smart. So
I think there's a question that I love to ask everybody, and I got 2 of these for you. The first one is looking back at your journey, hearing the gospel, going away from it, coming back, going to seminary, church planting, resonate, all this stuff. If you could paint one picture of just what is it about Christ, the gospel, that you have found so beautiful that you would devote your energy, your time, your life, even your family to following him and making his name great instead of Wk's name?
I think it goes back to just the love that God has for us. In sending his son to die for us. I didn't deserve any of it.
Right.
But at the same time, those who've truly experienced that love and grace, there's great hope. There's great hope that overcomes everything in this world. And I just wish people would be able to experience and see that. And I want to be a part of bringing that hope to people.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it came with the way I grew up. Right? I grew up with fear instead of hope.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be a part of anybody's lives. I want them to have hope, greater hope than we can ever find in security, in money, in our jobs, in our identity with our family. There's greater hope than that, and that's the hope of, salvation and the grace and the love that Christ has for us.
Yeah. Well, and that, the other question I want is right in that alley, that there's more than likely teenagers who are going to listen to this, college students, and I'm praying that many more find it. But, what do you say to that kid or that teen, that high schooler who's in that spot of just like, maybe they're being bullied. Maybe they feel hopeless, like no one loves me, no one likes me, I'm never going to be, I can't, in that spot. Like, what do you say to that kid? They're listening.
I think I would tell them that this world is going to disappoint them. And that's the truth. Whatever they place their hope in, it's going to disappoint them. There's only one thing that can bring true hope and true joy, and that's through Christ. And I would actually encourage the parents, like I always do, to continue to love their kid and not judge them. That's what my parents did.
Right.
My parents continued to love me and not judge me. I mean, partly because they didn't know what was going on completely, but at the same time, that's what brought me back. It was the love. It wasn't because they were like telling me not to do this, telling me not to do that. It's because they love me.
Right.
Regardless of who I am. So
it's beautiful. Yeah, I agree. It's that unconditional, unbelievable, unearnable grace. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. But it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And it never disappears or leaves. Even when you're so mad at God, right? Even when I was so mad at God, so pissed at him, grumpy, bitter.
Yeah.
He still loves me.
Yeah. It's awesome. All right. Well, hey, is there anything else you got on your mind that you want to tell the world, or should we wrap it up?
No.
You're good.
Hopefully Diana won't be mad at me.
Diana won't be mad. Diana, you're awesome. You're doing it again. Got another one.
Yeah.
She's awesome. All right then, man. Thanks so much for coming in. This is fun. I had a good time. Yeah. Got to learn a lot about you. It was pretty good.
Thanks.
Right on. Give me a little high five here. Bam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. We've completed another one on the Great Stories Podcast. Thank you so much, Wk, for coming in today. What a cool story, and oh my gosh, congratulations on number 2. Dude, this is so exciting. I love it. Those of you out there in the world of the internet, thank you so much for listening. Look for another episode in a couple of weeks. I'm going to have somebody on. Until then, share these episodes. Give them a thumbs up, 5-star rating. Head over to the Patreon, throw a few bucks this way to keep me afloat. And of course, if you want to come on the show, please come on the show. I want to talk to you. Shoot me an email, thegreatstoriespodcast@gmail.com. God bless you all. See you soon. You're still listening. So you found the golden nuggets. I don't know if they're golden, but they're certainly nuggets, and they're at the end of the show like this. I just kind of pop back on, and I talk about whatever is on my mind for the day. Don't take up too much of your time, but hey, if you're listening, you want more, here's more. Otherwise, turn it off, whatever. This isn't the important part. But I just had a couple thoughts that have been going through my head, and as my church has been going through this series called By Grace, and where we're exploring the ideas of how the grace of God changes who we are, reforms us to be more like Jesus, and then we therefore will start acting more like him. And the goal of the series is to confront people with the gospel and give them opportunities and ways that they can actually respond and express the change that's happening within them. And one of the stories that we're going through is the parable of the banquet, and this is when the landowner, basically the rich fella, invites his rich friends to come to this banquet dinner, this party, and they're all busy. Oh, they've got this to do, they have that to do, they've got other things to do. And eventually he ends up just going to the streets and inviting whoever, right? And then they end up coming. And, the clear connection there is that, well, we're the people on the streets. We are the outcasts. We're the ones that are forgotten, that are left out, that are undeserving of the invitation to this banquet. And, this is to represent Christ, inviting us into his paradise for eternity and inviting us into incredible blessing between now and then. But it struck me that, the folks that turned him down, we got a text. Sorry. the folks that turned him down, that they... What they didn't understand was how beautiful it was what Christ was inviting them to. And I think it struck me, you look at the tax collector and the Pharisee. The Pharisee thought he was great. He didn't understand. You look at so many other stories in the Bible where the rich young ruler is another one that we're doing, where, he chooses his earthly wealth over basically the kingdom of heaven because he didn't see how valuable the thing was that he was being offered. And then that leads me to the contrasting story of the treasure in the field. And this is where a man's digging in a field and he finds a great treasure and he goes away with joy and buys the field. He spends everything he has to buy the field. And, this is the person that I want to be. And so often I find myself being the rich young ruler, and the things that are sitting in front of me, these earthly things, these earthly priorities, not just money. There's all kinds of things that I see as valuable in my own life, and I prioritize them and I put them above the calling that God has given me. And in a lot of ways, sure, I could hold this or that up and say, oh, I'm great, I've got it here. Look, I've given this up, I've given that up, I'm devoted in this way and that way, but there are still so many strongholds within me that I hold back. And I don't really believe in some ways that, actually throwing all in and following Christ with everything I've got is worth it. I kind of want to hedge my bets. Okay, yeah, I want the kingdom of heaven, but I kind of want also like this now. And the only explanation for that is that I still don't fully grasp, and I don't know that I ever will, but I hope that I can grasp more the absolute devastating beauty that the gospel is, that paradise is, that whole gift of Christ is. And my prayer for me and my prayer for those of you listening is that we would grow through worship, through prayer, through reading scripture, through talking to people, through our communities, that we would actually grow to see more and more clearly how big, how beautiful, and how amazing the gospel truly is. And that understanding would lead us to see the other things in our world as so tiny in comparison. And it's easy to let go of something that is of very little value, right? And I think the things that we hold as so valuable in comparison to eternity, the blessing of paradise, they're practically worthless. And I think that's the point when we're able to really release those things. So that's just my thoughts for today. A little scriptural nugget there. Hopefully that made some kind of sense. But again, thanks for listening. I'm so glad people actually tune into this thing. I think the total downloads are up to like 1,500 now, which is crazy. I can't believe that's happening. But I'm going to keep going. Thanks for listening. See you soon.